Hi guys, I'm back with another podcast, and this week I have an amazing guest with me today. As you can see, Ash, and we're going to talk about a very interesting topic, and that's stigma around mental health. So, I'll let Ash introduce herself. Yeah.
Hi everybody, my name's Ash, I'm 24. I'm currently working as a safety advisor for BMD. BMD is one of Australia's largest privately owned construction, civil and infrastructure companies. I like going to the gym, seeing my friends, hanging out with family.
That's amazing. So, why we chose the topic that mental health, stigma around mental health, because this is something that really needs to be out there because people don't know about the stigma that is attached to mental health.
Absolutely.
There are so many people struggling with mental illnesses and stuff, and we'll just start with Ash today. So, do you want to share about your journey since childhood?
Absolutely. So growing up, I thought I had negative characteristic personality traits. However, last year I looked further into it and had an inkling that I was sort of on the ADHD spectrum. So that ended up forcing me to go and see a psychiatrist and get a diagnosis. With the diagnosis with ADHD as well, I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. Generalized anxiety disorder is very similar to typical anxiety, however, it's a little bit more chronic and it's a little bit more all day, every day, rather than just, feeling anxious about something and additionally I was diagnosed with an eating disorder as well.
Okay, so I'm from India, and in India, when you have some problem and you talk to your parents about it, so it's no, it's nothing like that. It must be your mind and you are not focusing, you are always on your phone and stuff.
Of course.
Yeah, so is it same was it same with your family?
So ADHD presents itself very differently in women than it does in boys. Obviously, we learn about that in school. Boys will typically be loud and hyperactive and distracting, whereas females, they internalize a lot of it. So for me personally, I didn't even know growing up that it was ADHD. I thought I was just lazy, or I thought something was wrong with me. All throughout school, I always knew I was very intelligent and I was very capable. It was just physically impossible for my brain to relay that into my schoolwork. So I did year 11 BCE, was really motivated at the start, did really well, 90% of my stack in psychology, really pushing for that good result, where then I got burnout from my ADHD and then it all just went downhill from there. In my early school years, I was described as lazy, very capable, but I was always perceived as lazy or this or that, right, when it was really something chronic going on inside of my brain. It was hard work for sure.
So how did you got to know that no, I need to go to a professional to seek help? Because
it's quite funny actually. Obviously during the pandemic we weren't doing a lot, all locked down, so I downloaded TikTok.
Okay.
And my TikTok, I don't know if anyone's familiar with TikTok, but it turns out your For You page, the algorithm matches you to a T. And I was constantly seeing these videos about ADHD and ADHD in women and the differences, and the more and more I saw and the more I struggled at work, because I have an admin role and a site role, so I do a bit of both.
Okay.
And I was always okay with the site stuff and going out and doing the physical stuff, but sitting down at that computer and having to do the work, I would find myself constantly procrastinating, and I was like, I need to do something about this so I can perform well in my role. So after all these prompts from TikTok telling me you probably have ADHD, I wrote a list of all my symptoms, took it to my GP and said, I need a referral to see a psychiatrist or a psychologist to be diagnosed with ADHD. And we went from there. And I found a suited one, and we've been doing quarterly reviews.
That's amazing. And when you went to your professional, so in your first sessions or your medications, was it really helpful at the initial stage?
So the first session was obviously the assessment. It went for an hour, maybe even more. The Australian guidelines also, you have to submit your school reports for the psychiatrist to review. So I had to go and get all my school reports, submit them, do my assessment, and they also had to speak to a parent.
Okay.
I tried to say, I'm 24, why do I need to do my school reports? I haven't been in school for 6 years, And my mum, like, why do you need to speak to my mum? But it's all part of the Australian guidelines or something. So yeah, and then we did the assessment. By the end of the assessment, he's like, look, you definitely have ADHD. There's different kinds of ADHD, obviously. There's the hyperactive, and then there's the...
Yeah, there's the other one.
There's another one, so I can't think. But, and he thinks that as I've grown older, I've managed to learn to manage the hyperactive, but I just internalize the rest. So it was very helpful. We got started on a medication. I don't think it's appropriate to talk about what medication I take because everyone's different, and what works for me may not work for somebody else.
Exactly, and I think that is one of the biggest problems because people just Google something,
medicine
for ADHD, and just the first word that comes, they just go and get that.
Exactly right. So I was prescribed a medication that I found worked. I'm still on it now. I still take it during the week for work. And with the eating disorder, as part of the ADHD, my brain doesn't create dopamine like a normal person would. So I was diagnosed with binge eating disorder. So that medication that I am taking helps with an appetite suppressant as well.
Okay, that's amazing. So now like compared to your past, your life is easier?
Yes, so the medication doesn't last all day. I take one dose in the morning. I don't think it matters how much I take, but I take one dose in the morning and I get everything I need to, that I know that I would typically procrastinate or avoid. I get everything I need to do in the morning, and then I can spend the rest of my day doing my site walks and doing my inspections and going out and talking to the guys on site and doing all the things. So yeah, it definitely makes life a lot easier.
Amazing. And like one more question, when you were going through a journey of this ADHD and your issues and everything, was there any side hobby or anything you like just indulge yourself in and that was really helpful?
So I've always been super active and super fit and into gym and sports all through my childhood, and now I look back and I realise that was it's a form of therapy for me to help my chaotic and overactive brain, for sure. So yeah, I go to the gym 4 to 5 times a week, and really look after myself with my meal prepping and just all that exciting stuff.
Amazing. And like when we were just talking about the stigma related to mental health, so like your friends and your circle, so when you tell them about your thing that you were suffering from that and you're still taking medication and stuff, so is the react as like you expect, or like sometimes it's not that?
I only surround myself with people that are genuinely good for me and supportive, and I have a really good circle of friends, so I am very lucky. I'm very open about my illnesses and my diagnosis and my medication. Like, I think because I'm surrounded by such good people, it's really easy for me to talk about, and I'm very privileged in that way. But I think medication also has a really negative stigma as well. With the new world we live in, where everything needs to be natural and healthy, but I think at the end of the day, you really need to realise that your brain's not wired the way everyone else is, and if medication is the tool that helps to help you every single day, I think it is 100% worth it. And I tell my girlfriends the same thing. I had a friend tell me that she didn't want to start her antidepressants again because she's doing the right thing and this and that, and I was like, well, it's a tool. We exercise, we do mindful activities, we meditate, we go to therapy, we do all the right things, and we still might be lacking that little bit extra. So if the medication's going to help, there is absolutely no reason for you not to take that. Just because of the stigma, for sure.
Right, because there are many people right now, I have seen in my uni, back in my country, like such a huge stigma is attached to medication, especially when it comes to your therapies and related to your mental health. And I just don't know why even now people are so stigmatizing it.
It's 2022, like let's get real. And the same thing, my psychiatrist, I wasn't initially diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. That was after, so we do quarterly reviews of my medication and how everything's going. After my first review, I spoke to him about, I thought I had maybe a mood or a personality disorder as well, because my moods can be so intense. 1 minute I'll be on top of the world, and the next I'll feel like I have no reason to live, or emptiness. And I brought it up as a concern, and he was like, no, unfortunately, Ash, this is part of ADHD, like your mood swings, your impulsiveness, even anger outbursts sometimes, it's all because of the way your brain's wired with the ADHD. So I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder, which is like I said before, a constant chaos is the way I describe it when I speak to people. So we started some antidepressants for that as well, which is, they are helping as well.
Amazing. And like, do you want to say something to the people suffering from this who are not that much knowledgeable about where should they go and like how should they start, and like if they are not able to go to a professional, so some few tips and tricks that they should do with themselves, like going.
I think, as silly as it sounds, I think physical activity is, there is no better way of, you know, getting out there, getting moving. I think it is so beneficial. I also think speaking to your friends and family, you don't have to seek professional help, but if you're struggling, there's absolutely nothing wrong with reaching out and telling someone. Like, it's 2022, there is so many ample resources for you to even be able to reach out to. They have online therapy, you don't even have to go to see somebody. They have Lifeline, Beyond Blue, It's Okay Not to Be Okay. There are so many resources available now. Like, especially after the pandemic, like, you know, majority of the world aren't okay after what we just went through, and it's perfectly fine. Like, there is nothing wrong with reaching out for help. I think it's so important. I think it's also worth speaking about, you know, you don't know what someone's going through. You can look at a person at work, at school, in your private life, and like, you never know what someone's going through. So just remember to be kind. Like, there's no need to be.
And a message for everyone: if you're feeling that something is wrong with you, so the best way is like to just go into a professional and get to know that is there anything wrong or not, rather than just searching it online and just asking people what you are taking and I take the same thing.
Yeah, so I went to my GP with a list of, this is what's wrong with me, I think, personally. And she was able to say, yeah, that's worthy of a referral. So even, you don't even have to go to a psychiatrist. I went private because it was a quicker process, but you can, you know, go to GP, start a mental health plan. There are so many different ways of going about it. And there's so many ways you can find out about how to go about it as well.
Exactly.
The internet is a crazy thing.
Crazy thing.
You
just type, you know, I'm not feeling well, and it will give you a long list. You must be suffering from this. Oh my god, that's
that
so
could be frightening too. But yeah, there's so many ways, and like, everybody knows somebody who's gone through something, gone through a process, gone through a journey. So I just think it's so important to speak out on how you're feeling and what you're going through.
Exactly, because when I had my first IGTV, I was like not that mature enough. I didn't have any knowledge, and when I was listening, I was like, yeah. But till now, I'm like, oh my god, people are going through so much. And when, you know, you talk to people, you get to know that there's a lot which the world doesn't know about, and they just think, you know, people are just doing this for attention, or they just don't want to do that, just making ways to get over things.
That's another thing. I personally post a lot on social media about my gym and my, like, what I'm up to and all that sort of thing, and even the response I get from that, like, you don't know who's watching you and looking up to you. Like, there's so many people that are just like so interested in you, and you are cared about by so many people. It's so important to reach out.
Because when I texted you for this collaboration, I found that you are into fitness and something, and I was looking for a person who is into all this, and it was amazing, guys. I'll link her Instagram down below, so you can just go and have a look. She's really into fitness, and her Instagram feed is amazing, really aesthetic. So I just hope that you just get to learn something from Ash, from her journey, and from the words she just shared with us. Is there any question you want to ask me?
I don't think so. I think we've covered pretty much everything I have to say. But I think, as a female as well, if you think something's wrong, your intuition is usually probably right as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So look into it. Definitely do what you can, for sure.
Right. And thank you so much for your time being here today. It was amazing talking to you. I hope we have another session in future.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.